Amy, or as most of you know me as Queen, most of you know me as Creeps. Barely anyone knows me as Amy. But so
we know you.
I only found out 2-3 days ago that I was doing a panel, so this is entirely unrehearsed, entirely unorganized. So I decided to do something different because last time I explained, like, you know, my origins, what I do, and all this. But what I want to do instead is demonstrate in person what I do. So I'm going to read you all a story today. It's not one by me, by the way. It's one of my favorite, you know, horror stories. Come in. Hey, come and join us. So the first thing I wanted to do is show you a voice reel of all the things I've been doing for the past year, which I will show, maybe ask some questions, say some more things, read the story, then show again. And hopefully we won't have a disaster or anything. We won't have people interrupting on the next stage like last time. So can we play the video?
Ooh? Who's a good putty? Who's the best little putt-putt? Who's the prettiest little putty putt-putt in the whole world?
Me.
Doesn't look like a common operation.
Listen to me, General Makarov. You're making a mistake.
Say something.
All right. Let's make a deal. If you really become a great wizard, as you say, you will be strong enough to defeat Tom.
Tom?
Yes, exactly. You will run away, won't you? You will disappear. I know. It's in your nature. You can't run away from who you truly are. You can't run away from your past. Same reason most people come to El Halago. Gambling. I lost Clohai at the tables and racked up too much debt trying to get her back. Then he came to me. Can you blame me? I've been in a bikini for 6 years. I just want some dignity for a change.
Fear. I should have known you'd be the one setting fire to this place.
Look who it is. I was hoping I'd get to see you before this was over. I was getting tired of all the rubbish you guys were throwing my way.
That creature. Is that a phasma? And how?
What are you standing around for? Everyone knows the guy's supposed to make the first move. You're making me nervous. All right then. Incendious. Show this man some manners.
The Millennial Fair!
What are you talking about? It's the year 600, and the 21st King of Guardia reigns.
All these years we've been at war, these years of blood and gore. We can only pray we'll win.
You can take your stinking hero medal back. Only weaklings like you need to wear things like that. I'm the only true hero around here.
Monster Queen, please help us. You have seen all our trust. Put your spite aside, it's right for us all.
You really hate me that much? Actions you commit can't be reconciled. People will fight back. You will be exiled. You will pay the price. This won't be resiled. You are my child. Have you ever had a hunch you should follow your nose? And go and try to find out where that when you smell goes.
Don't listen to them. Just because you're broken doesn't mean they should change you, she replied. What? Well, think about it, she smiled. I saw what she was drawing. It was filled with gore. All of a sudden, her eyes grew red. Her laughter and smile were creepy and evil. Realized that the paint on her headphones was blood.
So there's a lot more stuff I've been in, but most of it I'm under NDA, so I can't show it you yet. But that's coming out soon. It's a couple of video games I'm in and stuff, but yeah. So before I ask questions, I'll do a bit of background on me. So 4 years ago, I made the channel when I was 15 years old, April the 19th, and it was because, like the last clip, I was into creepypasta at the time. So the original point of my channel was to read the bad creepypastas, like that one, Music Joy, and make them sound serious. So it's scary, but in a funny way, if you get what I mean. So, you know, it's just like a piss take, basically. But then a load of people were encouraging me, why don't you read the good ones as well, which is one of the ones I'm reading today. So I thought, okay, sure. So I was reading the good ones, I had a small audience, and then I thought, okay, I'm not getting many views, why don't I branch out a bit? So Undertale was a thing at the time, which is what most of those clips were. And I started dubbing comics and stuff that were like centered around it, and one of the videos just blew up out of nowhere, and I got where I am now. 18,500 subscribers, somehow that happened. So it was really great. It's been a great journey, and like the thing is as well is that if anyone's interested in going into voice acting or anything, I say the #1 tip is to make friends amongst the community, because for me, making friends helped me go to America. Like I went to America, I went to too many games. I went to New York, I went to Indiana, I went to Philadelphia. It was insane, but that's the thing. Friends can get you connections, which can get you to like quite big things, basically. Like the Man on the Internet clip, I wouldn't have been able to get in that without, you know, the people who did Lemon Light. So it's just like connecting all over the place. So I don't know if anyone's like interested in voice acting or like the scene of that, but does anyone have any like questions about it? Or just questions in general?
Everyone looks at me.
I mean, she
Yeah, sure.
This is going to be interesting now, taking the microphone away from her. But QueenCreeps, when it comes down to getting into the whole voice acting side of things, what would you suggest is a good place to start? Or to start doing to get yourself into your own style?
So it depends kind of what you want to do. So like if you want to start simple, like the whole creepypasta thing, or just narration, audiobooks in general, just find good ones. And also get a good microphone. Like for beginners, as much as I hate to do this, because I do not personally recommend this, but I don't know any other good ones, the Snowball microphone and the Yeti are quite a good price. They're not the best quality, but they're good enough to pass, basically. The microphone I use is the Rode NT USB, and if you come to our booth later at Final Boss Fight, I have like a little pad I can reference where I can tell you more about it. It's not too pricey. I think it's about £140 or so, and it is quite good. It's quite firm, it's good. But if you want to go more into the whole acting thing, like voice acting, there is a good website called Casting Call Club, where sometimes they'll put up like, you know, normal hobby projects, sometimes they'll put up paid work, and it's a good place to start. Like a lot of the projects I was in there, like I got through with Casting Call Club. And also you can just start your own stuff, like the very first clip, the background Slytherin thing, that was something that I started, Norris Productions is my little company thing. And just, you find like any comic you can, like with permission from the artist of course, and just get a little cast together, or just do it yourself, like show off your voice range, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah, this is unrehearsed, I'm really sorry. Anyone else, or do you want to start the story?
Story time!
So, like I said, this is a good story. And it's actually coincidental because I actually have made a friend recently amongst the creepypasta community who, this is one of my favourite stories that I've read for about 3 years or so, and I've only just realised that he was the one who wrote it as I was getting it before, so this is great. Hey, Murphy, if you're watching this somewhere in America. But, so, this is the thing I've always wanted to do as well, like storytelling in front of a public thing, so it's going to be very experimental. It's only going to be about 10 minutes or so. So we're going to see how this works. So imagine, if you will, there's like an office break room. You have 3 people, Frank, Thomas and Kirby, and they come in, you all sit down like this, and they get their food out, they're unwrapping it, they're eating it, and Thomas just goes, "Oh, god damn it." And Frank, with a mouthful of cold pizza, mumbles an empathy, "Oh, your wife packed your tuna salad again?" So Thomas throws it down and goes, "She knows I hate this stuff. I swear, I've almost reached my breaking point with this shit." "Why don't you just pack your own lunch?" Kirby attempts to speak. "You don't get it, man. I've told her like 50 times. I don't like tuna salad, but does she listen? No. I swear I'm not here with this." Well, at least you're not like that one guy. That's never a good sign in creepypastas. What one guy? I've lost my place. Yay. I told you this was experimental. So what one guy? "Oh, you're talking about that guy from CompuTools? I heard about it on the news last week." Kirby chimes in. He's already began digging into his pudding cup. Thomas spins around to Kirby. "What the hell are you guys talking about?" So Frank wipes off his hands and he leans in. And everybody else does. Here's where the actual story starts. You see, there was this guy over at CompuTools. Nice guy here. What was his name? Phil Curbson. Anyways, he was one of those diligent workers, never complained, always got his work done before deadline. Hell, he would even stay late to make sure that his perfect record was never tarnished. Well, supposedly, CompuTools hired this new hotshot manager, basic ROTC'd up from the corporate, you know, never lifted a finger in his life and gets to skip right to the front. Exactly. So, this guy was brought in to help. And since the douche really didn't know anything about CompuTools products, he would just bark orders and micromanage everyone. Everyone in the office was buzzing. "We're gonna quit. Let's get HR involved. The guy's completely heartless." The usual empty water cooler promises. Everyone was in a tiff, except Phil. Phil would mind his own business and do his work with a silent smile. He would even go as far as asking the new manager, "Anything else I can do to help?" Well, I don't know if that manager deliberately planned to be this malicious or if it was just common nature for him, but he got this notion in his head to see how far he could bend Phil until he broke. Starting the very next day, the manager threw the biggest workload onto Phil's desk and barked out, "I need this done by 5 o'clock today, or you can just pack your shit now!" Or something to that effect. Phil quietly turned to face the manager, smiled as calm as his smile and said, "Sure thing, boss." 5 o'clock rolls around and Phil walks into the manager's office, proudly places the completed report on the man's desk, and goes, "Here you go, boss." The manager looked up from polishing and buffing his prized 600-pound marble desk to the completed pile of papers with a look of complete shock. How could one man complete that report in only 7.5 hours? His eyes then shifted to the report to glare viciously to look upon Phil's calm, lucid face. "Anything else I can do to help?" smiled Phil. The manager simply shook his head in disbelief. "Okay, well, I'm going to head out for the day, sir. You have yourself a great evening." The manager was flabbergasted. He steeled his motives and felt that he would try harder to break this man's spirit. Don't know why I'm doing that so rudely. By the end of the week. Well, the end of the week came and went, and still Phil was cheerful as ever. Always responding to every outrageous task with a happy, "Sure thing," and then turning in the completed work to the manager at the end of the day with a pleasant, "Anything else I can do to help?" Well, this went on for a few weeks, and the manager, now seeing that current efforts were fruitless, now decided that maybe he needed to up the ante. The manager would now bombard Phil with major accounts and lengthy business trips and tedious conferences, all to quell his passion that Phil must be broken. But with every new and more difficult task, Phil would embrace it with a "Sure thing, boss," and come back for more of a sunny, "Anything else I can do to help?" Gets less repetitive than this, I promise. The manager, now at his wit's end, had one more trick up his sleeve. Although his lack of concentration on the job he hired for was beginning to come under fire, he wanted to give it one more shot before he himself had to face the firing squad. He got it in his head that it was the breaks in between each 8-hour day that was allowing Phil to wind down, regain his bearings, get a good night's sleep, and come back the next day ready for more. So he gave him a new task. "I don't care how long this takes. You cannot leave your desk until we trim at least $5 million off of next year's budget." As always, Phil replied with his trademark, "Sure thing, boss." The manager turned away, knowing that the task would be Phil's breaking point. And like clockwork, Phil came into the manager's office with a completed budget, handed it to him. "Anything else I could do to help?" The manager looked over the budget. I don't like these numbers." The manager threw the report back at Phil. "Do it all over, and this time, do it right." Phil's smile sagged a little, but soon rebounded and turned around and headed back to the desk. The manager saw Phil's smile buckle for just a moment, and he chuckled to himself that his plan is finally working. 8 o'clock rolls around and Phil returns back to the manager's office. But Phil looks a bit different. His hair was a bit disheveled. His horn-rimmed glasses are now on his forehead. One corner of his shirt has been untucked from his pants. Phil's stride isn't as carefree. Phil hands the report to the manager and exasperatedly utters, "Anything else I can do to help, sir?" The manager, now seeing the victory close at hand, looks at this report. Phil, I think you made some miscalculations here." The manager hands the report back to Phil. "Do it again and remember what I said. You stay until it's completed." Phil, dejected, defeated, disappointed, looks at the report in his hands, wipes the sweat from his brow, and scratches the back of his neck. The nearly broken man headed back to his desk to collect his errors. As soon as Phil left his office, the manager closed the door and danced a twisted victory dance. I'm not doing a victory dance. Phil was nearly gone. The manager was going to sleep good that night. At 11 o'clock, Phil trudged back into the manager's office and handed him the completed and corrected report. Exhausted, Phil asked, "Is there anything else I can do to help, sir?" The manager, now a shining example of pure arrogance, threw the report on the floor and exclaimed, "Why did you do the budget for next year? I asked you to do the budget for this year! Can you even follow simple instructions? I want you to march back to your pathetic little cube, and you're going to stay all night if you have to, until you do exactly what I asked you to do, or so help me God, I will find someone else who can do it." Now, no one knows exactly what happened next, but some of the late-night stragglers who heard the manager's tirade claimed that as soon as he was finished, Phil took off his glasses, cleaned them off with the corner of his shirt that was still untucked, put his glasses back on, closed all of the blinds. In the manager's office that faced the rest of the room, what came from the room after that was a thunderous crash and a high-pitched shriek. The door flew open and the manager bolted out the room with glass shards in his hair, bleeding profusely from his face, screaming, "Call security! Call security!" Witnesses then claimed that they saw Phil calmly walk out of the office, blood splattered about his shirt and hands. He held a letter opener in his right hand, now stained with blood. Phil, calm and a happy expression, was lost to a visage one person could only describe as berserk. Phil's brow furrowed, scrunching his eyebrows into wide arches. His teeth gnarled, and according to one person, appeared sharp and pointed. He marched towards the cowering manager, saying, "Sure thing, sure thing, sure thing!" Phil continued to chant these two words over and over, and the volume of his voice continued to climb until he was shrieking. Phil destroyed everything in his path to get to the manager, who was now scrambling for the elevator. When the elevator doors finally opened, the manager quickly darted inside, and as he was frantically pounding on the down close button, Phil's arm thrust into the cabin as the doors were closing. The manager let out a girlish cry for help, and then, back in the office, Thomas, now blinking, sat on the edge of his seat. Yeah? Well, security hauled him away. The folks that stuck around for the whole ordeal say that they've never heard Phil use any profanity, ever. But on that day, they heard curse words so vile that they almost sounded like they were in some form of ancient tongue, some demonic language. Only by the grace of God was security able to restrain Phil. As the paddy wagon rolled up in the office's building, witnesses noted 3 things. First, that Phil was kicking and screaming the entire time and was hardly recognizable. Second, that the manager couldn't stop crying. And thirdly, and the most bizarre, was they realized what made the thunderous crash in the manager's office. The 600-pound marble desk, the manager's prized possession, now lay in pieces outside the office window. So, that's it. Well, what happened after that? There had to be a trial, said Thomas. Oh, there was a trial. But Phil was deemed mentally unstable to serve trial, so he was committed to the state hospital over in Brookfield, and everything died down and returned to normal. The manager got fired, and that was it. Just desserts, I say, Thomas commented. Kirby just shook his head as he started to clean up the empty containers. Well, carried on Frank, here's the real punchline. And this I got from Sally Boyd over there at CompuTools. She used to be the manager's admin. After the manager was let go, he was cleaning out a temporary desk, and to pass the time he had the radio on. The manager left his office for a moment and got some more boxes. And as he returned back to his office, she heard on the radio announcing Phil Curbson committed to Broadfield State Hospital on Monday, was discovered missing from a cell earlier today. The manager froze in horror, and as Sally turned around to see the manager's expression, the door violently slammed in her face, knocking her backwards onto the ground. And as she recovered, she told me that she could clearly hear the manager pleading for his life. She distinctly heard, "Please, don't! I'll do anything you want!" And then a familiar, calm and soothing voice came from behind the door. "Anything I can do to help?" Sally pounced for the door, but it was locked. She tried to look through the window, but the blinds were mostly drawn, and she only saw the flailing of arms and legs. Sally kicked at the door, repeatedly shouting, "Somebody please help!" But it was too late. As soon as the commotion ceased from inside the office, Sally heard the knob click to signal that it had been unlocked. With tears in her eyes, she slowly reached for the knob and opened the door to reveal a gruesome scene. The manager splayed open from his throat to his pelvis, ribcage and organs exposed. His hands twisted into contorted knots of flesh and his face warped into an expression of unrelated anguish and fear. Eyes wide, jaw locked, nose broken and twisted. In his left hand, its last cadence drawing to a close, was the manager's own heart. Sally and some of the onlookers who had finally gained access to the room then looked up to see the following message scrawled on the bare, dingly yellow office wall. "We were wrong. He had a heart attack after all." Or he had a heart after all. Jesus! Thomas had to hold back the vomit after covering his mouth. And after that, CompuTools shut down the office. I think they turned into a megabyte. Frank finished his tale with a solemn sip of coffee. Thomas rubbed his eyes. Whoa, wait a minute. Whatever happened to Phil? Well, this is where I was supposed to say, that's the strange thing. But it's not really that strange. When they finally opened up the office, the only people in there was the manager. Sally even saw she never actually saw Phil. She only heard his voice, or at least what sounded like his voice. And he hasn't been seen since. That's complete bullshit, Kirby explained. Frank and Thomas spun around to glare at Kirby for breaking the mood. What? Thomas inquired, like you know exactly what happened. I just know that that's not how it happened, Kirby calmly stated as he adjusted his horn-rimmed glasses. Okay, hotshot, how do you know? Frank gestured. Because, Kirby leaned in close, the hospital doesn't know I'm gone yet. Just then Kirby's manager leans into the break room. Hey Kirby, I need you to do something for me. Sure thing, boss. As Kirby stands up to leave the now still break room, Frank and Thomas glance down at Kirby's security badge for his full name, Kirby Phillips. The end. So that hasn't been narrated on my channel yet, but if you guys want to see it, then I'll do it definitely. But basically, my channel's been on kind of a break recently because the whole thing with the creepypasta is that it's all down to sheer luck about what's popular now, and unfortunately creepypasta is not very popular anymore, so I've been kind of focusing more on the whole voice acting thing. But hopefully now that my exams are finished, because I finished second year at university at last, we can finally like balance it out, so I am planning to do more creepypastas and hell, put that at the top of my list. But yeah, that's it. Does anyone have any more final questions? Because we're gonna, for all the new people who came in, we're gonna play the video I played before, which is a voice reel of what I've done. Just saying shameless self-promotion. But does anyone have any more questions about voice acting, the channel in general, just YouTube in general? Like, where you want to get started in YouTube or anything?
Little bit cheeky, because I know the answer already. I saw some art in there, and it's yours as well, isn't it?
The very first part, like, yeah, that's my art. Oh yeah, it's more shameless self-promotion. I've opened commissions recently as well because I've never really been per se an artist, but since joining Man on the internet, I've had a load of art friends who've taught me like tricks and techniques, and I'm no expert, but if you want any tiny advice, then you're more than welcome to come ask me. Like, I'm at the booth over there at Final Boss Fight. Well, thanks to Final Boss Fight, by the way, for getting that booth. So, any other questions? Okay.
Could you demonstrate your range for us?
I'm going to ignore the fact you asked that last time. Okay. So, trying to experiment. Okay, so my deep range. It's like this. This is the voice I normally read these creepypastas in. Although if I was to read that one in that voice, it would have taken us forever. So yes, my persona Creeps, because they're split in two per se. She talks in this natural, sultry, deep voice. And then of course Queen has this more higher upper royal voice, but I can go higher than that. I guess the best bet is to demonstrate it with Temmie, who's like a little cat puppy thing, so I'm gonna warn you now, this will be loud, because I didn't warn everyone last time. She goes, "Oi, oi, oi, Temmie! And this is my friend Temmie!" So everyone hates the fact I do it in a Cockney accent for some reason, but I don't know, I just feel it's the most fitting. But yeah, I can
I need to go higher than that. But that's more so when I'm doing an American accent. I have to go really high-pitched if I'm doing, the cutesy anime girl per se.
And then low, no, that's just, that'll be like Batman stage, and I can't do Batman. Any last ones? Nope, okay, we'll play the video again.
Ooh? Who's a good putty? Who's the best little putt-putt? Who's the prettiest little putty putt-putt in the whole world?
Me.
Does look like a common operation.
Listen to me, General Makarov. You're making a mistake.
Say something.
All right. Let's make a deal. If you really become a great wizard, as you say, you will be strong enough to defeat Tom.
Tom?
Yes, exactly.
You will run away, won't you? You will disappear. I know. It's in your nature. You can't run away from who you truly are. You can't run away from your past.
Same reason most people come to El Halago. Gambling. I lost Clohai at the tables and racked up too much debt trying to get her back. Then he came to me. Can you blame me? I've been in a bikini for 6 years. I just want some dignity for a change.
Javier, I should have known you'd be the one setting fire to this place.
Look who it is. I was hoping I'd get to see you before this was over. I was getting tired of all the rubbish you guys were throwing my way.
That creature. Is that a phasma? And how?
What are you standing around for? Everyone knows the guy's supposed to make the first move. You're making me nervous. All right then. Incendious. Show this man some manners.
The Millennial Fair!
What are you talking about? It's the year 600, and the 21st King of Guardia reigns.
All these years we've been at war, these years of blood and gore. We can only pray we'll win.
You can take your stinking hero medal back. Only weaklings like you need to wear things like that. I'm the only true hero around here.
Monster Queen, please help us. You have seen all our trust. Put your spine aside, it's right for us all.
You really hate me that much? Actions you commit can't be reconciled. People will fight back. You will be exiled. You will pay the price. This won't be resiled. You are my child.
Have you ever had a hunch you should follow your nose? And go and try to find out where that when you smell goes. Don't listen to them. Just because you're broken doesn't mean they should change you, she replied. What? Well, think about it, she smiled. I saw what she was drawing. It was filled with gore. All of a sudden, her eyes grew red. Her laughter and smile were creepy and evil. Realized that the paint on her headphones was blood.
One final note, the dog in that one, like on the second to last one, I'll be cosplaying as that dog on the Sunday, so you can come and catch me then. And tomorrow I'll be cosplaying as Dr. Alphys, so you'll just see me in basically this dress with spotty and a blonde wig and glasses and stuff. So I'll be on the Final Boss Fight booth, sharing it with Final Boss Fight, of course, and Geeksfold. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next time.